and welcome back to another episode of The Book Stop. I'm your host Jen, and I'm very excited to talk about today's episode. But before we begin, there will be spoilers as we talk about major events that unfold within the story. In addition, each episode will have a list of trigger warnings in the description. Be sure to follow the podcast on Instagram at The Book Stop Podcast, and show your support on Patreon for early access to episodes and other additional content. And welcome back to another episode of The Book Stop. Today we are joined by the wonderful Charlotte.
Hello.
And what are we going to be talking about today? What book did you bring?
Today I brought Hook, Line, and Sinker by Tessa Bailey, the kind of sequel to It Happened One Summer that I brought last year because we couldn't leave them on a cliffhanger.
Super exciting. I didn't expect her to write a sequel to the first book because I think it let off in such a pretty good ending.
You felt closure, but also there could have been more, but there didn't need to be.
Yeah. So we're going to play a little game right out the gate here.
Oh,
you
boy.
are going to summarize this book in 30 seconds. Just try your best. And whenever you're ready, you may begin.
Hook, Line, and Sinker takes Hannah, and she is working on a movie with her director/crush. She decides that she wants to be a music engineer and control the soundtracks and everything. The director's not loving his location for the movie, so she suggests they go to Westport, which is where Hannah spent her last summer. And there she gets the courage to ask for what she wants career-wise, and while there she's staying with her friend Fox, which is her sister's now fiance's best friend. And I guess the in-laws are in town, so that's why Hannah can't stay with Piper, and Piper's so busy. And so she stays with Fox, and of course, that kind of unravels into more of a love story. Things unfold from there.
I'm going to summarize this book really quick for anybody who hasn't heard of this story. And again, we did do It Happened One Summer last year, so check out that podcast before you listen to this one, and things will kind of make more sense. It is a standalone book, so you don't have to read the first one, but it does fill in those kind of gaps of how Piper met Brandon and all that good stuff. Yeah, so Hook, Line, and Sinker. King crab fisherman Fox Thornton has a reputation of being a sexy, carefree flirt until he meets Hannah Bellinger. She's immune to his charm and wants to be friends. Hannah is in town for work, crashing in Fox's spare bedroom. As the line between friendship and flirtation begins to blur, Hannah can't deny she loves everything about Fox, but she refuses to be another notch in his bedpost. Fox has fallen for her. Hook, line, and sinker. Helping her flirt with another man is pure torture. But maybe if Fox can tackle his inner demons and show Hannah he's all in, she'll choose him instead.
Woo!
Oh, shoot. Yeah, I'm super excited to talk about this episode. I personally liked this book better than the first one.
That is interesting. Honestly, I feel for me, they're very similar, so they're pretty even. I don't know which one I would say I liked better.
Yeah, I think what happened was that she listened to our first podcast that we did together.
Obviously, after I told her not to.
And she took everything that we said and put it into this book, because I feel she really listened, and everything that we didn't like about the first one, she did in this one. We said that there should have been more time between them meeting before they fell in love, because it happened within a week. More actual history on them. We were kind of not beating up the book, but we weren't fully supporting it in the first one.
We had some suggestions. I do remember that. I feel at one point I said, Tessa Bailey, if you're listening, we don't hate you.
Yeah.
Which again, Tessa, if you're listening to this one, because you're our number one fan, join Patreon. And also, we still don't hate you.
No, definitely not. So Charlotte, what is your favorite quote from this book?
Okay, so it actually took me a while to come up with a favorite quote. I, for a minute there, thought I was going to have to bring you my least favorite quote, because there were a few of those. But towards the end, we reined it in, we pulled it together. And my quote comes from Fox talking with his mom. And Charlene says, "You can't live life worrying about what people will think. You'll wake up one day, look at the calendar, and count the days you could have spent being happy." It's a little cliche, perhaps, but it's also very true and it's always a good reminder. I was like, you know what, she's right. She makes some good points, and those are good reminders for me, good reminders for anyone else, but especially Fox.
People kind of have this like predetermined idea of what they should do, and things that happen,
Yeah.
and you can't let it hold you back. And I think that kind of ties with like Fox and his dad. Like his dad was
True.
a person in his history that was what everyone thinks Fox really is kind of like a thought.
A hoe.
A hoe. And that's not who he is, and that's who we figure out throughout this whole book, is that Fox isn't like that. He's a very, like, sensitive guy, and we never would have found that out if we didn't, one, see it from his point of view, but two, we have this book with Hannah. Because in the first one, that's how I imagined Fox.
That's his new name.
That's how I imagine Fox, is a very, like, not respectable man. And he's not like that.
Fox kind of always knew he wasn't like that, but he didn't know what else to do because literally everyone in his life was treating him like he was, you know, using women disposably and that sort of thing. Like even his best friend, everyone did it without realizing. And once they were called out on it, they were like, oh shoot, like, he's right.
The quote that I have is when Hannah and Fox are talking about his mom. He says, when she looks at me, she obviously sees my father. When she smiles, there's a little, I don't know, like a flinch. She says, you still come to see her, so that's pretty brave. He shrugs. I should be used to it by now. One of these times I will be. And Hannah says, no. One of these times, she will realize you're nothing like him and she'll stop flinching. I like that because we also get the scene at the end of the book where Fox goes to his mom and he brings that up to her and says, you know, every time you see me, you flinch, you see my dad. And she realizes that she, one, didn't even do that. And two, kind of confirms that it isn't that fact, but it's the fact that she enabled it and was helping him follow that lifestyle because she, at the same time, fell in line with everybody else thinking he's going to be nothing more than a playboy. So she felt guilty about it, and that's what the flinch is. So I like that we get that closure with his mom, too. I was shocked when that scene popped up.
I'm glad we had the closure. I think it's interesting how she raised Fox to have that sort of view of himself and encouraged it. When, like, she knew that she was doing it, she knew that she didn't like it, and also, like, how it could affect him, but, like, she never changed. She never did anything different. She just kept going with it because, I don't know, she thought it was easier or something to, like, keep up this look. He could have had a totally different life.
Oh, absolutely.
If she had, like, stepped in.
Yeah, maybe just not completely push it upon him.
Yeah.
Because she would leave a bowl of condoms out in the pantry or something.
Yeah, she had to give him money, but it was like one of those, it's for this if you want, but like she didn't know what he did with the money really.
Yeah, and it's good to be like safe, but that was at like a very young age that she was doing that.
Yeah, he was like 15 or something.
Yeah. I'm glad that we got that scene, and it kind of explains a little bit more of their relationship. So what are some things that you liked about this book?
I think I liked seeing how Hannah approached the relationship with Fox, even though they both were super in denial about how they felt towards each other. I think I liked that we kind of got both perspectives, but we got to see different things play out from Fox or Hannah's perspective, which I think helped the story. I liked how Hannah approached it in a way where she didn't jump right into anything. She didn't force her feelings on him or like tell him how she felt because she just couldn't take it anymore and like hoped for the best on it. She was really careful. One, it was just because she was scared, but two, like helped the story kind of progress more and make it more satisfying. I feel like it was kind of a slow burn situation because you really wanted something to happen, and anytime it was like close, it got derailed. So I think it made the story more interesting to read being from that way. Because otherwise, if, like, they kind of admitted things too early, it wouldn't have had the same effect later.
Yeah, no, I agree. I love a good slow burn. I liked it because Fox kind of always had those feelings for Hannah. And she was like, oh, Fox would never... She couldn't see a relationship with Fox. And then, yeah, again, points of views are so important in this story. Like, I think they're vital to tell the story. If they didn't have Fox's point of view, we never would have saw how sensitive he was, and at that extent. We see him be that way with Hannah from her point of view, but to actually like understand his mindset, where he comes from, and know a little bit more about his history is like, chef's kiss.
Right.
I love POVs so much. I know I say it in every single podcast, but I love points of views. I think it's a great way to tell a story.
I agree. I think it would be weird if it was more third person and like Tessa's describing everything. I don't know. I just feel like we were more in touch with Hannah and Fox and how they were feeling, which could just be her good writing, loosely. I don't know. I just think it really worked. And so it might not be like the most amazing book or winning awards by any means, but it was told well.
Yeah, I agree. It's not like going down in a classic like people in high school are gonna read.
Yeah, this is not Twilight.
Yeah, oh, there you go. Somehow, some way, every single episode I do on the podcast somehow ends up back at Twilight, and I love it so much.
Like the most iconic book ever.
It is.
The best.
The best.
Team Edward, by the way, in case anyone wondered.
Yeah, definitely not Jacob, that's for sure. Yeah, it's definitely not a classic. It is a very easy read. It's not, like, super detailed, so if you want something just fun, you know, you're at the beach one day, and you want to just read this book,
yes,
pick it up. It's a good book to just kind of read through. I think I read through in, like, 4 hours. It's really, really short, so it's a good, easy read.
100%. I agree. Go by the pool, in the bath, or, like, at the beach. Perfect. It's, like, definitely one of those light books when maybe you read something heavy and you're like, I want to read again, but I need something less intense.
Yeah. So some of the things that I liked was I like the time skip that we go from summer into almost next summer, like springish time.
Yeah.
And I was really worried that it was going to be a retelling of It Happened One Summer from Hannah's point of view.
Oh.
So when I went in, I was like, okay, so we're going to listen to the whole story again. And then we get the text messages at the beginning. And I was like, oh,
yeah.
Yes, good, I'm glad. And I liked how the text messages came back into play. Like they mentioned the text later on. And I like that we got a little bit more grandma. Not as much as I would liked, honestly, but we did get some more. And that was another thing that we suggested in our first podcast together, was that we wanted more of like grandma and Henry. And Henry was like big in this one. We got a lot more of Henry.
Yes. He was like low-key main character energy without being there.
Yeah. I really like the epilogue, even though it was kind of silly and kind of dumb. I thought it was cute, and I love that Piper and Brandon's named their child Henry after her dad.
Oh yeah.
But it was really stupid, but also kind of like really cute. It was weird.
I know. I think my note about epilogue literally says that the moose in the epilogue was a choice.
It was.
That part felt forced.
Yeah.
But it was so random. It was out of nowhere. Like, the moose was so specific.
Was the moose her dad? Was it like some kind of like connection there that she was trying to make?
I feel like we're, it's her Patronus.
Yeah, I was about to say Harry Potter.
Maybe just reading these Tessa Bailey books, I don't think it was that deep, but
No.
like maybe. Because the moose didn't attack, but I feel like the moose part, just a little forced. But I do think overall it was very cute, the epilogue. And I thought it was cute that they mentioned Charlene was going to be coming like for Christmas Day, but we know nothing about Opal.
Yeah.
I know this is 20 years later, so like then that made me worried.
Maybe she's dead.
I know, and I was worried she was dead. I was like, oh no, but like they didn't say that, but like also why would she say Opal is dead?
Yeah, she could have been like, you know, we visited Opal's grave or something.
Yeah.
Something. Just like leaving it hanging, my mind wanders.
I know. I was like, what's Opal so busy doing?
Maybe she's like in Las Vegas and like spending all that money she got for the songs.
That's true. She's got Christmas in Cancun, I bet.
True. So what are some things that you did not like about this book?
It's funny you mentioned those text messages at the beginning, because while I do think it was helpful and it kind of gave us an idea of where Hannah and Fox stood at that point, it felt so gimmicky and forced and just like a little bit trying too hard. I think it could have been done more creatively, but also at the same time, you didn't want to make it too different. It was just the way the text messages were written felt funny.
Yeah, it didn't feel like natural.
No. I know obviously she has to plan out her books, but it felt that way, that they were so planned out and like the answers were so perfect and that sort of thing.
I don't even think there was like the LOLs or anything like that. Like TTYL. Smiley face. I know they had emojis in it.
TTYL. Oh yeah, there's like a bunch of ... There's like some all caps moments. A lot of punctuation.
Yeah, that was the one that got me. Who uses punctuation?
Are you awake? Wide. Are you alone? Yes, Hannah, I'm alone. Oh, and the countdown. They were going to listen to a song, and he says 3... 2... 1... I just feel like you can't accomplish that sort of a thing via text.
No.
But she texted a hashtag, which I know that can be done ironically, but Fox spent an obnoxiously long amount of time discussing why sleeping together would be a bad idea. And it was at the very beginning of the book, too. So it's like, we knew from the get-go Fox was foxin'. He apparently just had no idea how he felt about her and like why he felt, why do I think I can't sleep with her? Why is this such a bad idea? Blah, blah, blah. And it's like, dude, it's because you're in love, but okay. Oh, the other thing is I was going to tell everyone that I know these books that I keep bringing to the podcast are super cheesy and ridiculous, but I realized I am loving the anticipation and edge of your seat sort of feeling you get from like the slow burn. It's one of those things where it's like so cringe, but you can't get enough. Kind of that sort of a thing. So just disclaimer for everyone out there. Oh, in all of the spicy scenes, why does she refer to Hannah's vagina as simply her sex? I just hate that. She did it too many times. Yeah. And I was like, there's not a single better word we could come up with. Like, it was too scientific for the way everything else was written. I just had to get that out there.
Okay. Yeah, it was, like, we didn't get very many of those scenes in this one as much as, like, in the first one. Yeah. Because they were trying to resist each other.
Push it off, yeah.
Yeah, they were not sexy in any way. They felt kind of forced. Like, not that they were, like, forcing themselves on each other, but, like, the scenes itself felt very forced.
Especially the ending.
Yeah, especially that one.
When they got back together, well, when they were breaking up and when they were getting back together, both of those, I was like, did this need to be done this way? Like, can't we ever talk? Just have a little convo.
It was, not great. That's for sure. Like, I would say, like, the spicy meter was, like, 3 chili peppers out of 5 chili peppers. Maybe, like, 2.5. It wasn't very spicy.
No, it was just intensely spicy.
Yeah. Like,
when she did it, it was very... And they were, like, pages. It was, like, 2.5 pages at a time.
Yeah. Just the way they talked to each other was that... It wasn't great either. I didn't like the way he was talking to her.
No. I have a specific quote that I literally almost use as my least favorite quote. I was like, this is so cringe.
Yeah, there was a lot of cringe. I was reading it and I was like, why is he saying these things? But if she likes it, I guess, go ahead.
Oh, man.
Some of the things that I didn't like, honestly, I didn't have a ton. Just a chill book. I didn't take it too seriously. And I didn't take itself too seriously either. There were times, like you had said, the way that he kept pushing her away. It seems like they were kind of going in circles a lot of the times. Constantly had the same mindset with just a little bit of changing in the shifts. They take one step, take 2 steps back, it felt like. So it was just very going around in circles, as if you're like, stuck in a current in the water, and you're just kind of going. And then there's like a whirlpool.
I know, we haven't made any fisherman puns this time.
I know, what's going on? we gotta get better.
Yeah, but I do agree with that. They kept asking themselves questions like, why do I feel this way? Why am I jealous? Why do I want to see her or text her or him or whatever? And I'm like, why do you think? Like, let's all admit it to ourselves. Let's admit it to each other. Obviously, we wouldn't have a book if they just had a conversation that was, more than surface level. That part kind of went on a little too long where I felt like, oh my gosh, like, let's move on already. We get it. Like, this has been established that you guys feel this way and that you're questioning it. Let's put that to the side so we can develop the relationship in real time rather than having so many parts of the book where we're just in one of their heads.
It felt very much like they were trying to figure out their sexuality as if they were attracted to an opposite gender. Because a lot of books, when you read about, like, LGBTQ people, they're like, why do I feel this way towards somebody of the same gender? That's because they're trying to figure themselves out.
Yeah.
That's how it felt in here, except he was like, why do I want to actually be in a relationship with this woman instead of just sleep with her? And I'm like, okay.
I know what you mean, because it definitely, I don't know how to explain it, but I know what you mean.
I got you. I'm reeling you in, right?
Yeah. There we go. There's one.
Yeah, we did it. And then the other thing I didn't like was the sea shanty scene. Say that 5 times fast.
That's the quiz for next time.
Specifically when she comes back with Henry Cross's songs that he wrote about missing his family, which we're going to talk about in a second. But she sings the song in front of all of the developers and the director and that other woman, I can't remember her name.
Brinley.
Yeah. Everyone started clapping and going, ooh. When she was
crying.
And crying, yeah. The Brenly girl was like, if you do this, I quit. And everyone's like, ooh, you're going to the principal's office. That's what it felt like.
I know.
Very childish. And I did not like that scene at all. I was like, cringe.
I think it also could have been a good example, though, of the growth of Hannah.
Oh, yeah.
As well. And just like how she used to be one of those LA movie scene people, and while she still wanted to be, well, we realized maybe she outgrew that group of people. I think Brinley threatening to quit was kind of an opportunity for later, and so it was a much bigger deal than it needed to be. I think it would have been more intense if either Brinley threw a big fit in front of everyone rather than like just shouting out she was gonna quit, or if it was between Sergei, Brinley, and Hannah, the 3 of them. Sergei's the director. I think she was telling Sergei, like, if you go with her idea, then I quit. Then it could have been more intense for them and more pressure on Hannah.
I don't know. The whole scene itself was just very weird, and I didn't love it.
It was so awkward. And, like, I felt uncomfortable for her having to sing that, which I guess was her payback because Fox had to sing it for her. But that was for love. Hannah did this to make a point. Also, we have no mention of Hannah singing ever. I mean, obviously, like, to herself with her songs. But is she a decent singer? Is she, like, not that good but passable? I want to know more info. Like, is she going on The Voice? I don't know.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
So speaking of like Team Edward and Team Jacob, are you Team Brandon or Team Fox?
What a interesting question. What a toughie. Because Brendan seems a simp, which is kind of nice if you're the one being simped for, you know? But he's just so like gruff and stubborn. Not someone who goes with the flow well, I feel. Ironically, he's not someone who goes with the flow in his personal life. So I think I would have to be more of a Fox just because he has a more fun personality. He's interesting, you know, has room to grow as a person, where I feel like Brendan doesn't offer that because he doesn't want to change. It's like he changed enough of himself for Piper to like want to be with him and stay with him and build a life. I mean, maybe later in life the kids softened him some. Yeah. But I just don't think he is as flexible as I would need someone to be for me, and that's how I'm imagining this. Like, if I had to pick one of them for me, I would have to pick Fox. We'd have to work on his texting because he's cringe.
Yeah, I think both of them, they're both pretty decent men.
Yeah, for sure.
They don't mind taking the step for their partner. Both of them offered like, hey, if you want, I will move to LA to be with you. I liked that about them. I don't know who I would pick. I would think I would be like Switzerland.
Interesting.
Yeah, they both have good qualities, and I like that, you know, Fox is a little bit more sensitive and Brandon's a little bit more stern. Yeah, I don't know if I could choose between the two. Not saying that I love both of them so much, but
just neither of them particularly appeal.
Yeah, if I had to choose, I might choose Brandon just because he seems like he has his life in order.
That's true. That's fair. He doesn't live in an apartment with nothing in it.
Yeah, and he, you know, a captain of like a ship. So.
Well, not to spoil anything, but Fox, he's the captain now.
Well, of one of the ships, yeah. And then Brandon's going to be another one.
They've expanded. Franchising.
Can we talk about how I completely forget how loaded these boys are?
Oh my gosh.
Like, why is he living in an apartment?
Yeah. Well, see, here's my thing. Well, probably because he would go through... See, I don't know. Maybe not. I feel like if they had this much money... Brendan seems like he's a saver. He obviously was, like, celibate for 7 years. So he didn't have anyone to spend money on besides himself, and he didn't really want anything. He should have gotten himself a new wardrobe and nixed the beanie, but whatever. The image I have of Brendan in my head, a beanie just doesn't fit. Like, imagine you're watching Twilight and all of a sudden Edward is just wearing a beanie the entire time. Like, what? No.
Yeah, the beanie kind of like lowers his respect level.
I know. Like, how can anyone take him seriously? Like, he makes fun of hipsters and stuff, yet he's going around in this beanie, which, no offense to anyone who wears beanies. I wear beanies. But, like, okay, now here's my question. Is it like a beanie where it's, like, slouchy? Or is it like a Carhartt beanie? Because there's a difference.
I have the book right here.
Oh, okay.
It looks to be, like, fully just covering his head.
He even has the little tuft of hair sticking out. Hipster beanie.
Yeah, it's not a look.
But yes, anyway, so what I was going to say was I think Fox's money would go to the girls in the lifestyle that he was living, where he was high roller and was out there picking up girls, drinks, tabs,
hotel rooms,
and that sort of thing. Or maybe he had student loan. He did go to college, so maybe he had more student loan debt than we knew about. So, like, that's where his money goes. Or he just was fully embracing the bachelor life. Brendan wasn't, so he has a house. Fox was a thought, so he had an apartment because, like, bachelor pad. A house is, like, settling too much, It's too inviting to the women. And they were only good for a night. They had expiration dates.
Yeah, so who would you say in this one is your favorite character?
I guess it would have to be Hannah, because she's one of the main characters. I think she had a lot of growth. She was a good example, for the most part, of how to overcome your fears and your anxiety and to, like, become the person you want and to, like, push your own boundaries, I guess. She could have stayed the production assistant forever, but she knew she wanted more. So Hannah stood up for herself on a few occasions, spoke her mind about what she wanted out of a career, and if Sergei can't offer it, then fine, she'll leave. And then when he did, she realized that she was too good for him in his production company. She stuck to her guns. I think she had a lot of good things to offer and to demonstrate career-wise, which I can respect.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, one big thing for Hannah was that she was so stuck on leading lady versus a supporting actress, like, in life. Not just necessarily, like, her in a movie, but, like, in life. She was always somebody that was in the background, an extra. And I love that she's, like, the main character of this book and feels that way. And we see with her progression as she gets a little bit more comfortable with herself and understanding what she wants, and whether that is with Fox's help or not, we do see her kind of become a leading lady in her own life, which is a great step for her in showing that development. And we get to see it, like, first time, right at the gate, as she makes all of these decisions that, oh my god, I can't do this. This is not me. And it's like, yeah, this is me. This is who I want to be. So I just gotta take the first step.
Yes, which actually ties back to my quote of that. One day you might wake up and realize you could have spent all those days being happy, but you were too busy worried about what other people were going to think or how they were going to react or treat you. She definitely broke through that mind block and was able to take the steps to the career she truly wanted.
Yeah.
So, if anyone's out there and you feel like you have a mind block about something, or there's something you want to do, maybe you want to be a TikTok star. You know what? Just start posting your cringe videos and you'll be fine.
Everyone has cringe videos all the time, so don't worry.
Oh my gosh.
So my favorite character kind of ties on with Hannah. We have two main characters, and I picked the other one. Fox was mine, which is very shocking, I know.
I think it's valid.
Yeah, I really liked Fox because I myself had a mindset about him when we read the first book, because Tessa plays it off that way. That's the mindset she gives you for his character, because that's what she wants to give you. Because we don't get a lot about Fox in the first book, but I thought he had pretty good development. I think that it was staggered in a way that isn't conventional for most times, but I think it developed out enough where we get to see his relationship with both of his parents. Seeing how someone's opinion kind of shapes you as a person, whether that opinion bases from your own personal history or your parents' history. I think that a lot of people don't talk about.
Yeah.
I love that we dive into that and we get a little bit more history in it. I would have liked a little bit more of the dad of why did he start doing this, but obviously it wouldn't make sense to put that information in. But just personally, I would have liked a little bit more of that. And I really liked to see his sensitive side. And we get to see him falling for Hannah. Even though he's kind of already fallen for her,
right,
we get to see that development a little bit more. My one favorite scene that got me to like Fox was the scene with Brandon. They are talking about him going out to sea to be a captain. And he's like, you don't even trust me to be a captain, just like you don't trust me to be with Hannah. And Brandon's like, where is this even coming from? And he's like, you are my best friend, and you don't trust me to be with your fiance's sister, be able to, like, love anybody. So how am I supposed to love myself, you know?
Yes,
and he's just, like, starts crying. How am I supposed to move on from this opinion that I'm trapped inside? Because no one's giving me the option to do it. Everyone's kind of keeps shoving me down. You see that with the crew members as well.
Yeah.
They always keep shoving him in this box, and he's trying so hard to get out of it. And that's, like, one thing that keeps him back from Hannah. He doesn't want anybody to think lowly of Hannah and make Hannah feel like she's worth nothing, like they make him feel.
Right.
So I really like that development, and I think that it explains a lot of why he's the way he is without just kind of shouldering it and be like, oh, I just make him that way because, you know, a girl broke his heart. More in depth, and I really like that.
He is kind of a classic case, though, of the guy who got his heart broken by a girl. You know, he was in early college, so he was still young. Then it turns out to affect his entire view of, like, dating and relationships, and he's like, well, I'm never gonna let anyone get close to me again because I don't want to be hurt. But he thinks he doesn't want to be the one hurting those girls, and which is also valid. He doesn't ever want anyone to feel the way he did, but also he was stunting his own growth. Mm-hmm. And it's just one of those things where guys just don't properly process the trauma or anything of those hurtful situations. They let it affect their entire life until they meet the right girl who fixes
mm-hmm.
him.
Yeah, that kind of ties into, like, toxic masculinity.
Yeah.
We did of just, like, society in general.
Correct.
Not being able to, one, feel your emotions, let alone understand them and try to figure it out. I'm not a man, so I'm not going to speak upon men, but men typically are like, oh, I can't, something bad happened to me today, but I'm just going to hold it down. And
yeah.
Brandon is kind of that way until he meets Piper, and he's a little bit more open.
Right, because she won't let him forget it.
Yeah, exactly. I think this book does pretty well with understanding the toxic masculinity, and like you said, it kind of stunts his growth with him not really accepting what he's feeling, and that's why it took him so long to understand that he's falling in love with Hannah, because guys just don't talk about their feelings, and not all guys, obviously, but big fisherman guy like that.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. That's true. It's one of the first books that I've read anyways, really talks about that in, like, a casual way. Fox really had Hannah there to advocate for him, like, mm-hmm. even if it was just, like, to himself, telling him that everything that he felt was valid, but also it doesn't need to be that way. She, in a roundabout way, without actually telling him this, was telling him that, like, you're letting people see you this way, his friends and whoever, mm-hmm. and, like, it doesn't matter if they do. What should matter is how I see you, and because, you know, they're the only ones that would be in the relationship. And I think Hannah did a good job for the most part, kind of helping him process what he was feeling without being too nosy. But I also think she could have told him, like, you feel this way, like, stand up for yourself.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel like she really did that. She also struggled with that for her own self, so yeah. Easier said than done. But
yeah, exactly. A lot of it was just that it was easier for him to just kind of go on because he's always seen his reputation as inevitable because that's how his dad was. So yes. He never really pushed it away because he felt like it was maybe too much work to push it away, or he felt like no matter what he did, it would always kind of circle back. I'm not sure how his mindset with it is, but it was inevitable for him to end up this way. It's like his mindset that we saw.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that adds pressure to it as well.
I would agree with that.
So we're just going to take a second here to shout out our Patreon subscribers. So a huge shout out to
Nick W., Bree P., Ashley A., Tim M., and Lulu.
Thank you guys so much for listening to the episode and supporting the book stop. It means the world to me, and thank you every single day. You guys are amazing. If you'd like to be a part of the Patreon shout out, head over to Patreon and subscribe today.
You will be hooked.
Blind and sunk. Alright, so who would you say in this one is your favorite relationship?
Thinking originally maybe Henry and Hannah. You know, Hannah was able to finally connect with him in her own way. But Fox and his mom is another one because they really had a good amount of growth with each other. Fox was able to clear things up with her to put them in a better spot so they had a better relationship, which I think they both wanted because he would keep going and seeing her and she enjoyed his visits. Both of those, you know, the child to parent connections helped both of them individually, but also to be together as well, because they didn't feel like they had to get answers for one area of their life from the other, you know?
Right, absolutely. I think it was, again, a very surprising relationship that I didn't expect to get in this book. Maybe because I didn't really expect Fox to even care about his parents, especially with the way he was raised and his mom, like, hoarding the way that he is now. But yeah, we get, like, the bingo scene, the scene at the end, which, again, I'm shocked that we even got. So it adds a little bit more closure, and it helps kind of round out Fox's character a little bit more.
I would agree.
I said Hannah and Henry, so I'll take that one from you.
Okay.
I really liked Hannah and Henry for a few different reasons. That I enjoyed Hannah's kind of reluctance to know him, because obviously Hannah is a lot older now, and Henry died when she was 2, so she doesn't have any memories like Piper has of him. She's always kind of been so reluctant to know him because she had this mindset about, like, he didn't care about his family. That's why he went out on the ship every day. That's why he didn't come back, because he cared more about his work than his family. And she didn't really have any feelings about wanting to know him, and she felt bad about that. Not necessarily like she's completely rejecting him, she just didn't feel anything, and that's what made her feel bad about it. I like that we get those connections to him through the songs that he wrote, which was heavily influenced by his family and his daughters and his wife, which again, she uses to help with the movie. It helps also this relationship with them to drive that connection for Westport and Henry, which is another thing that we suggested in the first book, was that we didn't see enough of Henry to understand why Westport was so gushing about him.
Yes.
And we get that a little bit more in this one. See what Henry did to get everyone to be literally put up a statue of him.
Yeah.
So I really like their relationship, and we get to see Hannah navigate that part of her life that she never really dove into.
I agree. I think it was really nice for her to, I don't think she really did it to relieve her guilt, but it was nice for her to have that weight lifted off her shoulder, because I think she really wanted to connect with him. Because, you know, that's your dad, and she didn't have an opportunity to really know him. You know, and Piper didn't have much of an opportunity, but she had a head start. And so for Hannah to have an opportunity to connect with him and feel like she knew him in her own way that was special to her really helped her grow as a character.
That's what I was going to say, is that she got to connect to him in such an important way, because she's so driven and like enforced by magic music.
She's also a wizard.
Oh my god, Harry Potter?
The Patronus?
Hannah Potter?
Oh my gosh, spin-off! Tessa, are you listening?
What was it? Oh yeah, music is just so important to her, and that's been evident since the first book. It's very important. That's how her and Fox connected, is over the Fleetwood Mac album. Got to not only get these words and turn them into actual songs with like an indie band, and then got to use them in the movie that she could pull back and have such a connection with. Like it took place in Westport, it has her dad's song in it, so I feel like this movie is just going to be so important in their lives. I love it. All right, are you ready to play a game?
Okay.
I have a game here where I'm going to list a song, and you are going to tell me the original like artists on it, and all of these songs are pulled from the book, either the song itself or just an artist from the book. They mentioned so many.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, so are you ready?
Okay, I think so.
Time After Time.
I only know that as Cyndi Lauper.
Yep. Gold Dust Woman.
I like a word bank.
Okay. Gold Dust Woman.
What? I don't know. See, here's the thing. These are going to probably be so obvious to other people, and then I'm going to look stupid.
I didn't know half of these, so...
Okay. Is that a Lana Del Rey song?
No, that one is Fleetwood Mac.
Okay, that was my fourth guess.
Fourth guess? Okay. For Once in My Life.
Stevie Wonder, obviously. Who wouldn't know that?
I know, right? It's, like, very obvious. Dazed and Confused.
A Stone song?
No.
Okay, is it a Jimi Hendrix song?
No.
Is that a Zeppelin song?
Yep.
Okay. So, see, third guess. Third time's the charm.
There you go.
Hook, line, sinker. Nailed it.
Smoke on the Water.
Oh, is that the Jimi Hendrix song?
No.
No! Oh, is that Deep Purple?
Yeah.
Okay.
I Say a Little Prayer.
Is that an Aretha Franklin song?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yes. The vibe of it, the name, or whatever, just seemed kind of like Motowny.
Yeah. Riders on the Storm.
Is that a Jimi Hendrix song?
The Doors.
Oh my gosh, that was going to be my guess. Okay. Who are the Righteous Brothers? I'm going to look them up later.
You've Lost That Loving Feeling.
Is it a Cranberry song?
No.
I don't know who the Cranberries
It's the
are.
Righteous Brothers.
Dang it.
You just said it too.
Oh my gosh. I was so much better at your fish trivia.
You did ace that one, so I gotta say though, if I was on the other side of this mic, I wouldn't have a clue who, and I would know like maybe 3 songs, so I need to up my song game.
What's so funny? I would love to be on the show Name That Tune so bad, but like they're gonna play something by the Cranberries and I'm gonna be confused.
Yeah.
So maybe I shouldn't go.
Let's Stay Together.
Is that Amy Winehouse? Is that Lana Del Rey? She keeps shaking her head, everyone, just so you know. Let's Stay Together. Is that a Rolling Stone song?
Al Green.
Okay, well, he was my next guess, because I haven't used him yet.
I think you're running out of guesses here.
I know.
Satisfaction.
That would be Rolling Stones.
Mm-hmm. Foxy Lady.
Okay, is that Hendrix?
Yeah.
Okay.
Summertime Sadness.
That would be Lana Del Rey. I'm so dumb. See, if I had paid attention to the songs more, but I was like, I can't relate to this because I can't think of the songs off the top of my head that they're referring to.
Yeah, there definitely needs to be like a playlist or something for this book that you can listen
Oh,
to.
I'll have to look it up later, but I bet you someone did.
Someone's
and if not,
gotta.
I'll make it.
Yes. Animal Instincts.
I'm going to guess that's the Cranberries.
Yeah! Yay! I'm gonna be real, I don't know how many you got right. I don't think it was a lot.
It was not a lot.
But it's okay.
A lot of them were coached.
Charlotte, so what would you say in this book? What is something that you would have done differently, would have changed? It's your own personal opinions.
I think my main thing is that I wish there were just more scenes with her sister. And I know Brendan's parents were brought in as kind of a way to keep Piper busy, so like maybe she didn't have to like write about her as much and incorporate kind of another storyline in it. If we had a little bit more sister talking time, Hannah might have been able to figure out what she wanted or what she was going to do sooner.
Mm-hmm.
I can see why they did, like why Tessa didn't include Piper, or Hannah would have the opinion of Piper and also Brendan, because they tell each other everything. And so then Brendan is linked to Fox, and I just feel like it would kind of become messy that way, which is a little more cliche than the way Tessa went about the story.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, I just can't imagine you would go somewhere for that amount of time and your sister wouldn't be able to make a little bit of time for you. Because it's not like they were on the boat for most of it. They were on the boat out at sea a little bit at the beginning and then a little bit at the end. But I mean, she was there for 3 weeks or 4 weeks or something, like at least a month, I'm pretty sure.
The parents were at her house.
Yeah.
So they weren't like in Seattle or out on the boat. Like she was there.
Yeah. Hannah could have gone over and hung out with Piper, and then Brendan could have been with his parents, or Piper could have came and visited Hannah. You know, there were just like opportunities because it seemed like Fox had a lot of downtime. So I would assume Brendan would have some as well. Maybe not as much since he's the captain. I just think there was a way that she could have incorporated Piper just a little bit more so that Hannah kind of had that sisterly relationship. I just think it's weird that you would go somewhere for a month. Like you're literally 3 blocks away from your sister and you would only see her twice. Like, once when you got there and once when you're leaving. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And the same for Opal. Especially since Opal in the sea shanties played such a large role in the story. I just feel like Hannah could have visited her a little bit more as well. You know, she was kind of clouded by her desire to spend so much time with Fox. Don't lose yourself for a boy.
Like, I get that Hannah was working, too, a lot of the time, so she couldn't go all the time into it. But then again, she did just kind of like leave and be like, I'm gonna go home and, do stuff. So at the same time, it's like, yeah, get dinner with your grandma. Go to bingo with your grandma.
Do something.
Like, go do something with your grandma and your sister. Like, have dinner every once in a while. Also, does her grandma live like in a home? Because why didn't she just stay with her grandma when she came as a fox?
That is a good question. It's like a complex, that's the word I'm thinking of, like a senior living complex, but they're more like apartments. So maybe Opal was only in a 1-bedroom.
Maybe.
Or maybe she wasn't even considered because Piper was in charge of the accommodations. I guess we wouldn't have the story we do if she lived with or stayed with Opal. It'd be like,
that'd be a different
Hannah
story.
And Opal. That'd be a very different story. It'd be just Hannah and Opal like baking cookies and watching The Price is Right or something.
Yeah.
That's Hannah's life for a month.
I love it. I agree, though. I wish that we would have saw more of Hannah with Piper. I also would have liked to see a scene with Brandon, Piper, and Fox and Hannah all together.
Oh, yeah.
Like, one night where they all go out and have dinner and, Brandon's noticing Fox, not advancing on Hannah, but eyeing her all the time and being like, he's only paying attention to her, just so we can get that development of Brandon seeing Fox with Hannah.
Then they could have like a bro to bro moment of like, I see how you see Hannah, so like,
gotten closer.
it's okay. I don't know.
Like, we only get the one scene where she's in the bar and Fox tugs her away and Brandon's like, what the heck? But I don't know. I wish we would have saw a little bit more because it makes it seem like they're not even friends. We don't see Brandon much in it at all, which is like fine, but Fox and him are supposed to be like besties. So
yeah.
We're getting kind of close to the end here, but before we go, we do one last thing.
Okay.
We are gonna do the rating scale. But we do it a little bit different here on the book stop. We kind of make up our own thing. I would give Hook, Line, and Sinker by Tessa Bailey 4 fights in a bingo hall over a blender out of 5.
Oh my gosh, that's such a good rating scale. I wish I thought of something like that. Oh my gosh.
You.
The blender.
The blender. They were fighting over the blender. That was so funny. She's like, she's a cheater. And he's like, what? How did I cheat? Oh, God, it's so funny.
Gosh.
Again, I like this one more than the first one because I think she took all the suggestions we gave on our first podcast.
Of course.
Even though the book was already out, I think
I don't think it was out yet. I think it was written, but I don't think it was out.
It just wasn't out.
She might have been able to make some changes. Who knows?
No, but I really like this book. The characters were thought out. I think she had some plot holes in there, but I don't think there was enough fish puns in the book.
This is true.
Just like there wasn't enough in this podcast, which is a bit sad.
We're sorry, listeners, that we didn't give you enough puns.
What did you give this book?
I was giving it 3 out of 5 songs on a playlist.
Okay, nice. I like it.
I'm not sorry that I read it. I can't say I would reread it. I would only recommend it to a certain demographic of people who don't want a certain standard from a book, because it's definitely a fun read. It's a lighthearted story, but people were saying that this book didn't need to exist. And I can see why they say that, but I think I would I would be left wanting more, because the first book I think did set up for a story about Hannah and Fox, and especially with how close the release date was, it seems like it was kind of always the plan. Mm-hmm. I'm glad it exists. It's just, obviously, as we said, it's no Twilight. It's no classic, and I don't think she's gonna get an award for it, but I don't think she was trying to either.
Yeah.
It's good for what it is, and I'm not mad at it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like we said, it's definitely an easy read. It's not something that takes itself too seriously. It's just kind of like, hey, do you want to go spend a month in Westport for a little bit with these characters?
Yeah.
And, like, not, like, driving for more. Like, I don't be like, oh my god, I want more with their kids. Like, I don't care. Sorry.
No, I don't care about the kids.
I don't care.
I think it's really cute. You know what I actually think I would enjoy is if Netflix picked up the books as a movie.
Yeah, I could see it being a movie.
I could see them being like a little, kind of along the same lines as like To All the Boys I Loved Before, or like Tall Girl, those types of ones where they're like kind of iffy, but you also
Yeah.
enjoy them. Like, you're gonna watch them.
Well, thank you so much for coming on to the book stop again, finishing out this duology. Well, we'll see you back in September with another
I'll be here.
little book. And yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always a joy to come on, and I like getting to talk about these things with you.
Of course, I love talking about it too. Have a good one.
Bye. You too.
Thank you for turning the pages with us today. If you've enjoyed this episode, show your support by leaving a review, sharing the episode, and following the podcast on Instagram at The Bookstop Podcast. Join us on Patreon for early access to episodes and other additional content. Thank you for listening, and I'm looking forward to the next one. Hope you are too.